Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to our my final free grant education Friday before we take a break for the summer. So don't worry, I will be back. And I do hope you will be back as well. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone that has joined me over the last several weeks, the last couple months on this journey of free grant education. I started this because I want people to recognize and understand the power of grants for your organization, whether that is a nonprofit, a for profit, an entrepreneur. The power of grants are amazing and can be life changing if done correctly, if done properly. And that is my mission, that is my vision for the free grant education. That is why I started this, to give you information and knowledge that I have learned over the 15 years of writing grants, consulting for grants, submitting grants, winning grants. That information I wanted to give to you. Over the last several weeks, the last couple months, we have discussed why grants get rejected, how funders think, building stronger proposals, budget development, grant strategy, scaling funding, and infrastructure and capacity. Today's lesson and my final lesson before summer break brings all of those topics together. Because after helping organizations secure grant funding for over 15 years, I've learned something very important. Most organizations don't lose funding because they write a bad grant. Most lose funding because they are not grant ready. A great grant cannot fix a weak foundation. Let me repeat that. A great grant cannot and will not fix a weak foundation. Today, I'm going to walk you through 10 questions every nonprofit, entrepreneur, and organization should ask themselves before applying for funding. Before we get to those questions, let's talk about what is grant readiness. Grant readiness means your organization has the systems, structure, leadership, documentation, and strategy necessary to compete for and manage funding successful. Your organization needs to have all of those things. If your organization has a few of them and you're missing one, you are not grant ready. If your organization has three of them and you're missing three, you are not grant ready. Let me go through that list again. Grant readiness means your organization, and you need to have all of these things for your organization to be considered grant ready. Grant readiness means your organization has the systems, structure, leadership, documentation, and strategy necessary to compete for and manage funding successfully. Think of it this way: receiving grant funding isn't the finish line. It's the beginning of a new responsibility. And that's exactly what it is, a responsibility. Most people only think of receiving the funding, they don't think of what happens once I receive the funding. Funders want confidence that you can deliver the services that you promised, manage the money that they are investing in, track outcomes, submit reports, create impact. Grant readiness is about proving you are capable of doing all of these things: delivering services, managing money, tracking outcomes, submitting reports on time, and creating impact. That means and that shows that you are capable of receiving grant funding and managing grant funding. I have 10 questions I'm going to ask you, but I want you to ask yourself these questions and be honest. Be very honest with the person looking in the mirror. My first question, and this is a 10-point grant readiness assessment. Whenever I am talking to my coaching clients, these are the questions that I'm looking at to see, do they have these things? These are the questions that I'm asking my coaching clients to see if they are grant ready. So here those questions are to you, free of charge. Is your mission clear? Question number one. I should be able to read and completely understand your mission, or you should be able to tell me your mission and I completely understand it, and not long, sporadic, drawn out, but succinct and clear and specific. Is your mission clear? If I ask you to explain your mission in 30 seconds, could you do it? Be honest. Can you explain your mission for your organization in 30 seconds? Many organizations have a mission statement, which is great. Some don't, but many do. But very few have a clear mission. Funders immediately understand who you serve, what problem you solve, why your work matters. If your mission creates confusion, your grant application will too. Funders should immediately, from your mission statement, understand who you serve, what problem you solve, and why your work matters. If your mission statement creates confusion and creates doubt, most likely your application will follow suit. Second question. So, my first question, is your mission clear? That's my first question to finding out, is your organization grant ready? Second question, do you have measurable outcomes? This is so important because it proves a couple things. You're collecting data, you understand how to do that, and you're making a change, you're making a difference. Question number two, do you have measurable outcomes? What changes happen because of your organization? Very simple. Can you measure it? Can you count it? Can you see it? Instead of we help youth, which is a weak outcome, how about we provide mentoring to 150 youth annually and improve graduation rates by 20%? Funders invest in outcomes, not activities. Remember that, outcomes, not activities. Question number three, to determine, is your organization ready to apply for a grant and receive grant funding? Do you collect data consistently? This is a question that I ask my grant coaching clients. Are you collecting data? Have you already been doing this work? What gets measured gets funded. If funders can see that you are collecting data consistently and tracking that data, most likely that will get funded. Do you track attendance? Do you track program participation? Do you track client success stories, surveys, outcomes? Do you track data consistently? Many organizations do grant work, and I get it. You are so ingrained in doing the work and making sure the organization is running and making sure that the volunteers are where they are supposed to be. Sometimes you forget to track the outcomes, to track the data. But you absolutely, in the midst of all of the things that you are doing, you have to track the data because what gets measured gets funded. Again, many organizations do great work, but if you can't prove that you're doing great work, funders cannot justify funding it. Question number 4, to determine, is your organization grant ready? Are your financial records organized? This is so huge because this will help funders determine if you are financially stable. Can you handle money? Do you know how to spend it? Do you know how to budget it? If your financial records are not organized, that is a telltale sign to any funder that you cannot handle money. And if you cannot handle money, I, I never like to use absolute words, but I don't know many, if any funder that's going to give someone money and you have proven to them that you cannot handle money. This is a huge, huge concern for funders. Do you have current financial statements? Do you have budget documents? Do you have profit and loss reports? What about your bank records? Do you have up-to-date bank records? Do you have a separate business bank account? Because if you don't have a separate business bank account, most likely funders are not going to put their money into your personal account. You need to have a separate business banking account. Can you produce your records quickly? If the funder asks for your records today, it's Friday. If they ask for your records today, can you get them to them today? Or are you going to need the weekend? Are you going to need all of next week? Not good. If not, funding becomes much more difficult. Question 5, to determine, is your organization grant ready? Do you have leadership stability? Funders want confidence in leadership. They want to know who is making the decisions, who is overseeing the programs, who is responsible for implementation. Strong leadership creates confidence. And sometimes you might have 2 people that is doing this work. Maybe it's split up. Maybe you have a finance person and a director and maybe a volunteer coordinator. Sometimes maybe one person is doing it, but that's not the best. You want to have some kind of team, some kind of support system around you. Question 6, do you have required documentation? And again, these are the 10 questions that I am asking my coaching clients who come to me to help get their organization grant ready. They come to me for strategic planning for their organization. They come to me for infrastructure and foundation building. These are the questions that I'm asking them. And I'm giving you these questions. Question number 6. Do you have required documentation? Many grants require articles of incorporation. Do you have that? IRS determination letters. Do you have that? Board list. Do you have that? Organizational budgets. Do you have that? Strategic plans, audit information. Do you have all of these things? Because if you do not, as you are listening to me and as you're watching me, start working on acquiring these documents. If you spend weeks searching for documents every time you apply, you are not grant ready. If you don't have all of these documents, you are not grant ready. Question number 7 to determine, is your organization grant ready? Do you have partnerships? Are you working with community members? Funders love collaboration because it's showing that other people support you and other people support your work. Who supports your work? Who's helping you? Who's volunteering? Do you have community partners? Do you have schools that you're working with? What about businesses? Do you have businesses that you're working with? What about churches? Are churches partnering with you? Government agencies? Partnerships demonstrate credibility and community support. Funders want to know they are not the only ones investing in you and investing in your organization. Question number 8 to determine, is your organization grant ready? Can you manage funding? So important. And don't just say yes for the sake of yes because you want grant funding. Please be brutally honest with yourself. Can you manage funding? It's a tough question. If you receive $250,000 in grant funding tomorrow, could you manage it? Could you hire staff, appropriate staff, qualified staff? Can you track the spending down to the penny? Because I am telling you, these funders want to know where the money is going down to the penny. Can you deliver services? Winning funding and managing funding, two different skill levels, different responsibilities, different tasks. Question number 9. Do you have a funding pipeline? Many organizations depend on one source of money. And we have discussed this in my previous free grant education Fridays, talking about putting all your eggs in one basket is never, ever a good thing. I'm refreshing your memory here. Many organizations depend on one source of money. That is dangerous, very dangerous, and I do not recommend. Grant readiness means multiple funding opportunities, ongoing prospect research, relationship building, long-term planning. Strong organizations never depend on a single grant. Question number 10. To determine, is your organization grant ready? As I've gone through these questions, if you are seeing gaps in your organization, you can start working on them now. Start preparing them now. Start getting your documentation in order now. Do not wait. Final question for you. Do you have a strategic plan? This is where everything comes together. Where is your organization going? What are your goals? What does growth look like for you and your organization? How will funding support your mission? Without strategy, grants become random. They become reactive instead of proactive. With strategy, grants become tools. Let me give you an example of an organization. They wanted grant funding immediately, which most organizations do. They want the grant funding yesterday. They want it yesterday. But after reviewing the organization, it was discovered they had gaps within their organization that prevented them from being grant ready. They did not have a current strategic plan, no measurable outcomes, inconsistent financial documentation, limited program tracking. Could a grant be written? Yes. And remember, at the top of this conversation, I said a good grant that is written cannot fix a weak infrastructure. It just cannot do it. Would it have been competitive? Probably not, because look at the gaps that the organization has. Instead of submitting a grant where there are clearly gaps within the organization, we focused on readiness, strengthened their infrastructure, got their documentation in order, created a strong outcome tracking system, and created program clarity. Fixing the gaps in your infrastructure, your strategic planning, making sure your organization is grant ready. 6 months later, they are in a significantly stronger position to pursue funding. Sometimes the smartest move isn't applying immediately. Most times, that's not the smartest move. Sometimes the smartest move is preparation. Again, I have given you 10 questions that I want you to ask yourself to determine if your organization is grant ready. I'm going to quickly go over these questions one more time. Question 1, is your mission clear? Question 2, do you have measurable outcomes? Question 3, do you collect data consistently? Question 4, are your financial records organized? Question 5, do you have leadership stability? Question 6, do you have required documentation? Question 7, do you have partnerships? Question 8, can you manage funding? Question 9, do you have a funding pipeline? Question 10, do you have a strategic plan? Those are the questions I ask my coaching clients to determine if they are grant ready. I want you to answer these questions honestly on a scale of 1 to 10. How prepared is your organization for funding? What area needs the most improvement? What documentation are you missing? What systems need to be strengthened? If you receive 6-figure grant funding tomorrow on Saturday, would you be excited or overwhelmed or both? Your answers reveal where your organization needs attention. As I wrap up my final free grant education Friday before our summer break, I want to leave you with this thought. Grant funding is not just about finding opportunities, it's about being prepared when opportunities arrive. The old saying goes, and the new saying, always be ready so you don't have to get ready. That applies in grant funding as well. The strongest organizations aren't necessarily the smartest, but they are the most prepared. They have systems in place, they have structure, they have data, they have documentation in place, they have leadership, they have strategy. They are grant ready. And that's exactly what funders want to see. If today's session helped you identify gaps in your organization, that's actually a good thing because now you can fix them. Awareness creates opportunity. And if you'd like support, strengthening your infrastructure, improving your grant readiness, building a funding strategy, or preparing your organization for future opportunities, I would love to partner with you through one on one coaching. Together, we can identify what's working, uncover what's missing, and build a roadmap that positions your organization for long term funding. Thank you for spending these last several Fridays with me, these last couple months with me, with my free grant education Fridays. I'm taking a little break for the summer. Enjoy your summer. I'm taking a break from the free grant education Fridays, not from the coaching. Just want to be clear on that. But enjoy your summer. Continue building your message. And I will see you back here on Tuesday. That's correct. Tuesday, June 19th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for another free grant education session. Make sure you follow me across all of my platforms. Crystal Petry Consulting on YouTube, Crystal Petry Consulting on LinkedIn, Crystal Petry Consulting on Facebook, Crystal Petry Consulting on Instagram. Make sure you follow me so you will know when my next free grant education session comes, and we can continue our learning on those platforms. You can ask questions and I can answer them. Until Tuesday, June the 19th at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, keep building, keep serving, and keep preparing for opportunities ahead. Remember, you want to be ready so that you do not have to get ready when funding opportunities arise.